Hey guys, Rushy here and welcome back to another video. As you can probably tell, since my last video I've had a haircut and a complete change of hairstyle. I decided to go for a high and tight crop top brushed forward hairstyle. The main reasons being, firstly I wanted to start brushing my hair forward again like I did 2 years ago. But also I wanted a shorter hairstyle. I've got alopecia areata, which is a hair loss condition. I've had it for most of my life, but recently I've started experiencing more hair loss than ever before. But with me, I've always lost my hair on the back of my head. But recently, as you can tell, I started developing bald spots on the sides of my head. And the bald spots on the back of my head have grown, which I'll show you now. So it was getting harder and harder to brush and style my hair to try and disguise my bald spots or blend my hair into my bald spots. So I thought what I wanted to do was find a low maintenance hairstyle, short hairstyle that's adapted to my hair loss. Needless to say, I'm really happy with the hairstyle. I feel like, you know, I'm embracing my hair loss now. I'm not hiding it anymore, but my hairstyle is also adapted to my bald spot as well. Because the hair is so short, it's blended into my bald spots better than it was before, and it's such a low maintenance hairstyle, so easy to style. And that brings me on to the topic of today's video, which is the Will Smith versus Chris Rock situation. So if you don't know, last month, back at the end of March 2022, the Oscars was broadcast again for the first time in 3 years, I think. And it was hosted by the American comedian Chris Rock. And Will Smith and his wife Jada Smith attended. Will Smith actually won an Oscar for his performance in the film that's based on the story of the famous Williams sisters, tennis players. But before he won the award, Chris Rock made a joke about Jada's hairstyle, and Will Smith reacted by slapping him across the face. So in this video, I'm going to analyse the situation and give my thoughts and opinions on the situation. And I'm making this video because it's been suggested by a viewer, but also I feel it relates to me personally because Jada Smith is experiencing hair loss and so am I. So I feel it is a relevant topic for me to provide my opinions on. Now, this isn't going to be a reaction video because I've already seen the clip multiple times. So what I have done, and what I recommend you do now, is pause this video, but before you do that, check out the description where I have left a link to a short clip of the situation. Pause this video and watch now so you can refresh yourself on the situation. So feel free to pause this video now, click the link in the description, watch that short video, and then come back and play this video to hear my analysis of the situation. Okay, so hopefully you've all seen the video now. From analysing the video, from when I first watched it, I couldn't really tell if it was real or staged, simply because of the way Will Smith acted, in the way he performed the slap. It was almost like a cartoonish slap. And the way Chris reacted as well, you know, quite calm and composed, you know, made a joke about the situation. But another thing I noticed, which I found strange, which led me to believe it might be staged, is that Will Smith at first laughed at the joke Chris made about his wife. And what better way to bring attention to the Oscars, because this incident has sparked interest from around the world. And to be honest, I'm still not 100% sure if it is real or staged. But for the context of the video, let's just say it's real. So when Chris Rock makes the joke about Jada Smith, in which he mentions her being a G.I. Jane, and I think that's a direct mockery of her hairstyle. She has a very short hair, buzz cut, I believe. But the reason she has that hairstyle is because she is experiencing hair loss. I'm not sure exactly what type of hair loss she has. It could be my condition, alopecia areata. But if you notice, she doesn't seem to have many bald spots. Although from one video I've seen, a slight bald spot in the shape of a line developing across the top of her head in this area by here. She is experiencing hair loss, and that's why she has that haircut. And I think it looks very good on her, in my opinion. And then we see a different camera angle focusing on Chris, and the next minute Will is walking up to the stage, up to Chris, slowly and calmly, and then suddenly provides this big, extreme, exaggerated slap across the face, and then begins walking back, and he's smiling as he's walking back. So I did find that quite a strange combination of events, and I'm still not sure if it's real or staged, but like I said earlier, let's, for this analysis, say it was real. And then once Will Smith sits back down, he shouts a couple of times to Chris for him to keep his wife's name out of his mouth. So what's my thoughts and opinions on the situation? Well, starting with Chris's actions, I do think he was wrong to tell that joke about Jada. I know some people say, oh, it's only a mild joke, it's quite funny, it's not really hurtful, but put yourself in her position. She's experiencing hair loss, she's trying to embrace it as best as she can, and maybe she doesn't want people bringing attention to her hair loss. The Oscars is filled with celebrities, loads of fellow celebrities, so it could be quite easy to get embarrassed over that situation, especially if your hair loss is something you were conscious of, which is definitely something I'm conscious of about my hair loss. So yes, if I was in her position, I wouldn't be happy with that joke either. I think, yes, he was wrong to tell that joke, but no, he didn't deserve to get slapped. And I do think he actually handled the situation after he got slapped quite well. Now, moving on to Will's reaction. Do I think he was entitled to react to that situation? Absolutely, but I do feel he reacted in the wrong way. In my opinion, he shouldn't have slapped Chris. He shouldn't have used any physical violence against him. Chris didn't deserve that, although he did deserve a telling off. So what Will Smith said when he was sat back down, I agree with that. I don't blame him for doing that, and I support him doing that. I don't think he was wrong to do that, but I do think he was definitely wrong to slap Chris. So what I think Will should have done is perhaps walked up to him on stage and talked to him like a grown-up, told him straight, firm, but in a fair way as well. Just told him to stop making jokes about his wife's hair loss, maybe tell him how much his wife's hair loss has affected her, and that no one should ever make fun of someone else's appearance in any way, shape or form. Or maybe just to simply keep his wife's name out of his mouth, but just left it at that. And it's hard to say what you would do in that situation, but I'd like to think in that situation I would stand up for my wife, and I respect Will for doing that, but not use any type of physical violence whatsoever. Just tell Chris straight, and I think that would have got the audience's approval. And yeah, although I understand, I can empathise, you know, why Will did what he did, I think he was out of order to slap Chris. Now, I think there's lessons to be learned on both sides. I think Chris should, you know, amend his comedy, his humour, in terms of not making cheap jokes, cheap laughs at other people's expense. And I think Will needs to improve, you know, his behaviour, you know, his anger management. Now, moving forwards, I know Will has had a lot of repercussions from the incident, which leads me to think it was real rather than staged, although I'm still not sure 100% on that. I know he has been banned from the Oscars for 10 years. I think that is a little bit harsh, but also understandable considering he did slap Chris. And, you know, he could have been charged with assault, and luckily he wasn't. I think it was fair that he wasn't. Also, I like the way he came out a few days after the incident, the way he apologised to Chris and explained the situation. I like how he dealt with it afterwards. So I do believe Will Smith deserves a second chance. I can understand, you know, maybe he does need a reality check. He's had a very good career, so hopefully lowers his ego a bit, because I think he does have an overinflated ego. But yeah, I don't think this should end his career. And same with Chris, you know, I don't think this should end his career either. And I think there are lessons to be learned all round from the situation. In a way, I'm sad the situation has happened because of how it's affected, you know, Jada, Will and Chris. But also, I like how it has started a conversation and raised awareness about hair loss in the general public. So it's good to know that people are now starting to understand what it is like to experience hair loss at such a young age, and an uncommon type of hair loss as well. And I honestly believe it is more accepted for men to experience hair loss rather than women, and adults to experience hair loss rather than children. So I do think that this incident has made it possible for people to start a conversation about hair loss, which I think in the long run will improve people's behaviour to people who are experiencing hair loss. Like I said, I haven't experienced too much negativity about my hair loss, not since adulthood anyway, and not really when I was a small child, only by a few school kids when I was in secondary school. You know, I stood up for myself, but it did have a massive negative effect against my confidence and how I viewed my hair loss, because like I said in my hair loss documentary, I viewed my hair loss as something interesting and unique about me up until that point, and then after I started getting teased about it, I viewed it in a negative way and something I was ashamed of. But thankfully, since I stood up for myself, I haven't had any issues since leaving school, and recently I've started experiencing more hair loss than ever before, so it has been challenging for me in a way, but now I'm an adult, I'm better at dealing with it now, and I'm more confident in myself, especially now that I know more about my hair loss condition. And yeah, I'm really happy with my new hairstyle. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you found it interesting. I'm not going to lie, when I first heard the story about the situation, I couldn't believe it. I never thought something like that would happen. But yeah, I do believe, you know, both Will and Chris deserve a second chance. I don't think Will should be prosecuted, but I do agree with him being banned from the Oscars, and hopefully he learns his lesson and improves himself. And the same goes for Chris Rock as well. Hopefully he stops making fun of other people, providing cheap laughs at other people's expense, and he begins to empathise with other people and what they might be going through. This video is going in my hair loss videos playlist, which includes my hair loss documentary from last year and my head shaving video from last year as well, so feel free to check those two videos out if you haven't already. Thanks for all the continued support, guys. We've reached 150 subscribers on my channel now, a nice round figure, and I really have a nice little community on this channel, which I'm really proud of, thanks to you guys. So thanks again for tuning in and watching this video, and I'll see you all next month in my next video.